In the Philippines, an illegal gold trade worth an estimated $700 million annually is flourishing.
Siguro, pwedeng black market.
You could call it a black market because they want to keep it secret.
Hindi masyadong inaano sa ano.
The trade is run by financiers, agents, and buyers who do whatever it takes to keep the business going.
When the officials ask us for some gold, we give it to them as a bribe.
Mining has wreaked havoc.
It will take years to restore the environment here.
There are signs of tuberculosis.
We met the people driving this illegal trade.
They don't care who sells the gold to them or where it comes from.
It's greed. It's greed. It is greed.
We'll show you how the illegal gold changed hands as it moved towards its final destination.
Okay, now let's check the report from the Manila Times. So there's a 79% of gold mined in Philippines smuggled to Hong Kong, amounting to $4.2 billion or 200 billion pesos from 2005 to 2015. Okay. The data show that gold smuggling started only in 2005, but rose to huge amounts during the administration of former President Aquino, when more than 24 Chinese companies rushed into the gold mining industry in the country. Aquino's Liberal Party and its 2016 candidate Mar Rojas were known to be close to several miners and were very supportive of the mining industry. Bakit kaya, no? During the 2016 election campaign, Rojas used a lot of the helicopters and small planes of Eric Gutierrez, the owner of San Roque Metals, SRMI, one of the largest mining firms in the country. Congressman Edgar Eris, the LP spokesman, was also for the time SRMI's chairman. So, Chinese mining companies, many of them operating illegally, have been exporting gold, nickel, and other precious minerals out through the island's country's porous coastal ports, where there are no custom officials and plenty of bribable officials to turn their eyes the other way. Nakakalungkot, no? The British news agency Reuters earlier, in August 2012, in an article entitled Philippines, Black Market is China's Golden Connection, reported, traders and officials say it looks like much of the gold is going to Hong Kong. The main conduit for gold flows into China. So, galit daw tayo sa China. Customer pala natin. The Reuters article also pointed out Hong Kong's top source of gold imports from 2005 to 2010 was the Philippines. Official data from the Chinese territory shows. Ito sa atin, no? Official statistics in the Philippines, reflecting legal exports, show gold exports to Hong Kong in 2010 and 2011 at just around 3% of the total volume recorded by Hong Kong authorities. Just imagine, ang laking cover-up nito. The Reuters and Asian Sentinel reports were ignored by the Aquino government and no investigation was ordered. Grabe. The UN Comtrade data show that from $590 million in 2012, smuggled gold even increased to $716 million the next year. Huge leap. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas requires that 60% of gold export proceeds to be sold to it for the foreign exchange to be part of our international reserves. With 4.2 billion smuggled and therefore not sold to the BSP, the country lost about $2.5 billion in foregone foreign exchange. And maybe even worse, gold sales are imposed a 5% withholding tax, and a 2% excise tax for a total of 7% in taxes. With 222 billion pesos smuggled and therefore unreported, government lost 14 billion pesos in foregone taxes. The mining industry spokesmen have been claiming that it is small miners, especially those in Mount Diwalwal in Compostela Valley in Mindanao, that have been smuggling the gold. Sources, however, explain that such small miners, mostly poor and illiterate, sell their gold to traders, who then turn this over to Chinese affiliated firms which have the connections to ship this to Hong Kong. A significant part of the smuggled gold is shipped to Hong Kong through our ports, but undervalued, with the connivance of corrupt custom officials. Yan, nasa custom din. Okay? UN Comtrade provides two sets of data. The first set has the value of gold imports from the Philippines, as reported by Hong Kong authorities. The second set of data has the value of gold export to Hong Kong as reported independently by our government. Imports by mainland China of gold from the Philippines have been insignificant. Merong comparison yan. Eto yan. Central Bank's gold purchase from small-scale miners. So, kita niyo naman yung difference. In terms of value, in terms of volume, very significant. So, kung magpapatuloy ang ganito, mas malaki pang mawawala kaysa doon sa hinahanap na ill-gotten wealth. Dahil tuloy-tuloy ito eh.
The government is idiotic and continues to pass new laws and taxes in order to get their, quote, fair share of other people's sweat, especially related to the mining projects. As the law stands, all gold and silver produced in the Philippines must be sold to the Bangko Sentral, the country's central bank. That's in the Philippines. Yet after the government started enforcing a 7% tax on precious minerals last year, most small-scale producers are now selling to smugglers instead. According to Assistant Central Bank Governor Manuel Torres, who heads the bank's refinery operations, as much as 95% of all the gold mined in the Philippines is now being sold to smugglers and moved out of the country. The central bank purchases of gold dropped at an annualized rate of 4%, then 76%, that's annually, then 88% during the second, third, and fourth quarters. In the first quarter of 2012, gold purchases were down 92%. It's staggering. Most of this smuggled gold finds its way here to Hong Kong. That's the person writing this is in Hong Kong. And then onward to China, where there's a voracious demand for gold despite rising prices, of course. It's perfectly legal to bring gold tax-free in Hong Kong. This is why, when Hong Kong reports its official trade statistics, gold imports from the Philippines are 30 times higher than what the Philippine government reports as gold exports to Hong Kong. It's an enormous discrepancy and gives a huge indication of how much gold smuggling.
Ayan mga kababayan, nakikita po natin dito sa video na ito na ang mga nakapwesto panay ang turo sa mga nakaraan sa martial law, ill-gotten wealth. Yan. Ang tanda ninyo, ang kanilang programa ngayon is ibalik ang ating mga mindset doon sa martial law. Ibalik sa martial law. Ipaalala ang martial law. Puro na lang martial law. Habang sa likod natin, ayun, busy na kumikita. Kumikita sila ng walang kahirap-hirap gamit ang kanilang pwesto at sila ay naghahati-hati. So, huwag na po tayo magpauto. Dapat ma-analyze na natin mabutihan na tingnan ninyo, ilang tao lang na makikinabang. Yung mga tao yun, yung siya rin nagpapaikot sa maraming tao. Kaya sana, sa darating na eleksyon, pag-isipan niyo mabuti ito. Yun lang naman. Salamat.